Hello everyone, it's Amy and welcome back for week 11 of Crafting for Pleasure. So today we're going to make these background papers. I made these with Distress Inks and permanent black ink. This week we are going to make them with just your cheap acrylic paints and black acrylic paint. So, because I figured that's a little more accessible for everyone. Last week we made our own stamps, so if you want to see how to make your own stamps if you don't have them, you can go to last week's video and it will show you how to make stamps that can help you make this background paper. So I'm going to set these aside and we'll get started. So we needed to have our dish drying mat to do this, and that's so that we can make our own paint pads. They're not really ink pads, so they're paint pads. So I've already cut off a piece, and so I have some acrylic from, these are just pieces of acetate from packaging. And I always just cut off anything that's flat. This actually has a little lip on it, so it's kind of nice to put your little pads in. I have some hard plastic cards here, and I've got 3. I just cut off a piece of the dish drying mat. I just cut off one section and then cut it into 3 pieces. And we are going to use these. Now you can use them even bigger than this. For today, this is the size that I wanted. Now these, I have gotten them wet and then squeezed them out because you want them to be wet to attract the paint into the pad. So you don't want it sitting on the top, and you don't want to use a whole ton of paint to try and get it wet with paint. And so I am going to make 3 pads, and each one is going to have 2 colors on it. Now I'm choosing 2 colors that will go together. This is my red. It's actually spiced berry because I don't like bright red. And then I've got apricot for orange. But these 2 colors will mix together. So I'm just going to put some of that on there without making mud. So that is just a good thing, because at the end we're also going to make our own dyed paper, and we're going to use these to do that. So we don't want to put 2 colors together that just don't look well together, or that won't mix together well. So now, because of the color that I chose to start with, you can't really see. And even I can't see. Like, I don't know how much paint is on here, and this is kind of just a trial and error. So I put down some paint. I'm spreading it out into a square. And so that is going to, I also have an acetate with some, just some paper towel here, so that we can use that to clean off our stamps or to clean off our little cards here. So now we're going to put the orange with the red. Then I've got some, whoops, it's got a little hard paint there. I don't really want that on my paint pad. So I'm just going to now put some orange on here. So in just about that amount. Really, there is no exact amount. It depends on what size your pad is. It depends on how big you're going to make your square. It depends on how much water's in you. You know, it just has a lot of depending on how much you need. So you just do it trial and error. I want to make my squares big enough that my that our biggest circle will fit within the color, so that we can get the color on our circle. And so this one, you can see much better how it's spreading in, and it looks to me like it really does need a little bit more. I'm seeing a lot of still the red color behind it. Oops. So I probably may not have enough of that there, but we'll see when the time comes if there is a little of that there. Get that off. If there's not enough there, we'll add some more then, because there's no point in wasting your paint. And this is something to do on a day when you like really want something to do, because you can do this for quite a while. It gets a little bit addicting, actually. And, you can just keep going until you run out of your paint pad. So there's that one. I really probably should have done a couple ahead of time, but I didn't, so I'm going to have to do them all now. So I've got a light purple. Whoops. This one is a little more fluid than the other two were. So it'll soak in a little bit better. And you don't want it to be like real thick on top. You don't want it to be like that. That's too thick. You want it to be more like a stamp pad where you have to kind of pounce your stamp onto it in order to get the color onto your stamp. And this one has got a lot of like paint, I don't know what you want to call it. Thick paint, dry paint. So I kind of want to take those bits off. I'm taking a lot of the paint with it too, so I'm going to come back here and put it on just this end, and then it'll be easier to get some of it off. So I think that that probably needs a little more. Ooh, that's a lot more. And you just get it worked right into your paint pad. And if you are playing with these and you want to like quit for a while, what I usually do is I spritz them with water, just with a thin mist of water. I just have this like from the Dollar Tree, and I just give it a spritz. I dropped my card. And then I put it in a Ziploc baggie, press it down, and seal it up. And that works good for a while. It's not going to make it last for days. I've actually had them last overnight. I normally don't keep them much longer than that. But I have put them away and come back and use them the next day. So, you don't have to wash them out right away. And the one thing that you never want to do, if you're not staying till the end, don't rinse these in your sink. You don't want to wash acrylic paint down your sink, because that will clog your sink. So acrylic is plastic, and so you just don't want it to get down in there and dry and clog your sink. It makes a really big mess. So there we go. Now we've got the purple and the blue. And I do want to do green and yellow. So we'll have red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple. So we have a variety. And again, I put the blue and the purple on the same pad because they will mix to help with our painty paper at the end. And then the green and the yellow, they'll mix well. My paints are getting a little bit old, and so we may wind up with a little bit of dry paint even on our stamps, getting on our paper, and that's okay. It just gives it character. I'm not getting rid of my paint because it has that little bit of dryness in it, and working it back and forth too, sometimes we'll get it to where the water on your sponge might loosen it up a little bit and make it not so thick. So there's that one. And then we'll just the very last one, we need the yellow. And so this is, you can use this with your regular stamps too. You do want to make sure that you wash your stamps when you're done, especially if you're using your regular stamps. You don't want to let them sit around with acrylic paint on them for a while, because when acrylic paint dries, then it's very hard to get off. Again, it is a plastic, so you don't want it to dry anywhere that you don't want it to come off, or that you don't want it to stain. So there we go. We have yellow, green, red, orange, blue, and purple. So now we're going to just take our paper And we'll just start with 2 of the colors. So we'll just start with the yellow and the green. We'll do the black at the end, so I'm not even going to put that out yet. And so I'm going to put out a piece of paper here, and I'm going to have a piece of paper over to the side where I can stamp off on. So I do have a piece of paper over here, because we don't want to mix our colors. So here are the stamps that we made. So those are what we're going to use. Put those there so we have our paper here. Alrighty, and then we're just going to start with the background stamp. So that's going to be all of our circles. And I do have to say, remember I told you don't use corrugated cardboard to make your stamps because it's not real solid. But we made one just as a sample on how to get the circle. So when we were all done, I went ahead and I peeled the paper off of the top. You know, the corrugated cardboard is corrugated in the middle with paper on each side. And so I peeled off one side of the paper because I thought I would like to try that. And let's just try it right now. I just thought, well, I wonder what that would look like. If we'll get a nice print from that or not. So there we go. That's pretty neat. I like that. So I'm going to, will stamp it off. Now, I really don't want to push hard on that because I'm getting it wet and it's paper. Corrugated, you know, cardboard is still paper. So you don't want to push real hard on it or you'll just flatten out all of your corrugation there, all of your lines. So, but that is really actually quite fun. I think I'll put one here. Now this will probably be lighter, and you don't have to do it just once. You can stamp around your paper until you run out of paint or ink. Now that one did not, you know, it was already not very much paint on there. So now I'm going to do this size. And see, you can look and see if you have it everywhere. And also now if you want your circles to be a light color that has quite a bit of paint on it, it's missing paint in the middle. Okay, now what you can do is you can take this and stamp it off on a different piece of paper, which is going to make it a little bit, it's going to take a little bit of that paint off. I'm going to turn it because it was kind of missing the paint there. Now I'm going to take this and put this on my paper and see if there's enough paint on there to put the circle. I'm not pressing hard. Remember, you need to leave it on there long enough for the paint to soak into your paper. So that did not do that well. Okay, so now we've got the paint on here. I'm going to put it on here. I'm going to give it a bit of a twist because of that center part. I'm going to push it down in the center. And there we go. Now it's not a perfect, and if you'll notice, these are not perfect either. You're not going for perfect because it's background, so we don't really need a whole ton. I'm going to pick up some of this green. And this one, I can tell you right now, it's the center is a little bit, it must be a little higher. So I'm going to actually push down in the center, but you have to then make sure, I'm not going to twist it this time. You do have to make sure that you get the paint all over. And see, now that is what your stamps are going to look like. And do we want to try and stamp off? I'm going to stamp off on top of right where that one didn't work very well. And see if I get, now this one I'm going to let sit there for a second. And let's see, do I want to, I'm going to move that one. We'll do the same size with a little bit of red. Yeah, that didn't really do anything. So Now I do have the other colors on there and I'm okay with that. So hopefully we're going to get a little bit of a mix. And I am putting these a little close together. I probably should have, because this is this size, I should have spread them out around the paper more versus putting them all kind of in the same spot, because we have the different sizes. Look at that one with those colors. That looks really nice. And now we'll just stamp it off on that piece, and I am done with that one. So let's go now with a smaller one. Make sure that you have it all over. And put a couple stamps on there. Then I'm going to go with the orange. Make sure that you have it everywhere. If you, no, I don't want to put one in the middle yet. Put one there. Maybe just one that size in the orange. Stamp it off over here. And let's do a little bit of orange with this tiny one. There. And there. So it's just kind of like a matter of just spreading it around. Put a little one in the middle there. And there. I'm going to set this aside and grab our purple and blue. Now I do want to wipe that off if I'm going to use it, because purple and blue and red, they don't go that well together. So I'll put that one there. Well, that one wasn't too good. There. And maybe one here and here. Let's see if the second stamp does well with this. So-so. So it also depends on how thin it is. Now that one has a bit of, had a chunk of paint on it, so I wanted to take it off. So that now left just a little tiny white spot there, which is kind of cool. Alrighty, now let's switch sizes. And let's go with this medium size one. Put one here and here. Now that one, since that one is already been stamped once, we'll see how this does. If it doesn't do well, you can always go back over it again. Well, I like the way that that looks. See, they don't need to be a solid color. I'm going to do one now that's going to be half and half. Let's see, now it's a little watery because there's a line of water right there. Because they're not touching each other and that sponge is wet. So that really kind of thinned them down. Ooh, look at that one. So this is really just, it's just a cool way to play around. So I really like that a lot. I'm going to do another one right there. I really like those a really lot. And that's the whole thing. You play around and you find different things. I didn't know that was going to happen really. And so it's one of those things where you play around and just see how things turn out. So let's do this one in. Now this is our actual circle with the hole in the middle. There we go. I'll put it right here. And you can even let them sit for a second and then do another one and come back to them. Not too long. You don't want it to totally stick. That's fun. So there we go. Now, we don't have to leave those centers blank. We can go ahead and let's do it with this one. We can go ahead and put this in the center. Oh, look at that. That's very cool. And we don't do the same, so let's do, I'm going to leave it like it is. Because these aren't real ink pads and we're going to wash them off later, it's okay. It can get mixed a little bit. They're yours. You can do with them what you want to. And like, I don't want to mix too much of the purple and the blue in my other lighter colors on the pads, but a little bit isn't going to hurt a thing. Look at that one. So these are just, I really am liking this part. I didn't know that part before. I've never done that before, and so now I'm really having fun doing that. Let's see. I think I'm going to do this red and orange. And that's the thing, just play around. And I'm going to put it on top of this one that didn't turn out very well as far as the little stripes. And then I tried to cover it with a second stamp off. This is very, like, light in the middle. Nothing hardly in the middle where the water is on the pad. Let's see how it turns out. Cool. And then you can just barely see that one through it, and you can still see the stripes through it. I'm going to do another one of those. Right here. And I'm just kind of trying to make sure that, like, see, this is the same color as what I'm kind of on here. So I want to put maybe some purple or blue between the two, or even green or yellow or something, so that they're not right next to each other. And you're going to get some next to each other. That's okay. I'm going to stamp it off on this other piece of paper. And so let's do, where's my little one? I want the little one. Here it is. And I think I want to do a little purple inside of here. And you want your colors to dry, like yellow and purple don't mix together real well. So once the yellow's dry, you can put the purple on top and it's great. You don't want to do it right away, or otherwise the colors may mix and not look so good. I want some little blue ones here and there, so just start filling those in a little bit. And we're getting there. Let's see, what do we need? We need more green, don't we? Put a green one there. And put a green one here. And see, now that I've got these that have the nice texture in the middle, or they have a different color in the middle, now my really solid ones, I'm wanting to have something in the middle of those. There, and that's just barely a difference, but it still, like, makes a difference. I'll put a yellow one there. And see, I really moved that one. See what happens when you move it? So, you know, that was the thing earlier, like with the other one, I said, when you stamp, then you want to pick straight up so that you don't move it, because that's what happens. So, let's see, right in here, I think we want more of a red one. And I'll do a half and half. Oh, there's a half and half right under it, but put that one there. And I'm going to leave it like it is and grab some of this green and put it there. Well, see, that's really green. I must have done very well getting the green on the paint pad. I'm going to put a little bit of green here, halfway off the paper. Remember to do that too. You don't want everything within the boundary lines of your square. Remember, sometimes you put one off of the paper, and another fun way to do it is to put it right on the corner, to where it's just a little bit on the corner and the rest of it is off. That's another cool way to do it. Put a half of one there. And I'll grab some of this orange with the yellow that I have on here. And do a little bit there. And I don't think I want to let, that's a lot of orange in those areas. I'll do that corner. Now I think I want a little blue off the edges. So let's do this one. Do the half and half and go this way. Not there though, right here. I didn't want it right there by that one because that's a half and half already. So that's how you do it, is you just kind of go around and pick and choose what you think should go where. I'm going to grab a little bit of this darker color, and I'm going to put it here. Cool. It's got a little bit of the blue on there. And put that one on there. Let's see. I think I want to do a little bit of the blue down here. And I think I'm going to need a smaller one. I need the smaller one. I think we need a blue there. And acrylic paint dries really quite fast if you don't put it on too thick. So that is another nice thing. I'm going to put one right there. Even though there's already blue there. This had a lot of green in it. When I did that one, I could see it. And you can overlap if you want to. I don't do that very often, but let's overlap with this one here. Because it's going to be light, because it doesn't hardly, I already stamped off, and this one is very solid, so it'll be kind of nice to maybe have a little color. Didn't do anything. Not really. So I'm going to pick up a little bit more and stamp it there. All right, now did I lose my tiny one? So I really want the little one. And that always happens to me. I'm always losing things. Oh, here it is. I want to fill in the blanks. So I'm just going to take a little red and put it in places where there's not a lot of red. A little off the edge there and there. And we'll put one right there. And I'm going to go for the yellow with some of the red. And just kind of pick and choose where you think you want them. There are so many things you can do, and I love to make my own foam stamps. It's something I've done for so long. You can make corner stamps and edge stamps, and you can just go to town with making your own stamps. And so if there's any kind of stamp that you want that, you know, you don't want to go buy it, let me know. And we'll see if we can make one. I think the only stamp that I've never been able to really master is the cursive signature stamp. And, you know, that does make a good background stamp, but I have so many other background stamps that I like to make that I'm okay with the fact that I have not been able to do that one. I'm going to pick up a little, because I got this big blue dot right there. I'm going to put that one right on top of it to kind of cover it up a little bit, because it wasn't a circle, and I'm kind of in, you know, this, we're doing this as circle paper. So now I think that this looks pretty good. Maybe just a couple more. And there. I think that that's pretty good. Now, you let that dry, and I'm going to set these aside. And we're going to get our black paint while that's drying, because really that's pretty much almost dry already. So now for the black paint, I want something where I can stamp down on and stamp off, so that I don't have like super too much black. So let me see. I guess it doesn't really matter which side you use. I'm going to put some black there. And then we're going to get, we'll grab our little tiny stamps, and I don't even want to mess with that, with how thick that is. That's just too big of a big blob. So it needs to be spread out a little bit. And, oh, what did I do with the little credit cards? Here they are. I just spread this out a little bit, because you don't want it to get all really thick on your stamp, no matter what kind of stamp you have. Set that aside. Okay, so now we're just going to grab a little bit, look and see if you've got it covered. We don't have any here. Okay, so now it's covered, so maybe stamp off just a little bit. And just take it and put it right on here. I'm not pressing hard, I'm just holding it for a second. And my hands were a little bit shaky. And my paint was a little thick, so it got a little bit thicker, but that's okay. You can go and draw around it. I don't want to be real close to that one. And that time I did not. I like only press down one side, so only one side of it stamped. Oh, I must not have had ink on the whole thing. So you do want to look at that. And some of them you can line up again. Like I can look to the side and line that up. Some of them you can't. There we go. This one just doesn't, let's see if I can pick up a little of that black paint. Not really. Kind of don't like the way that one stamps, so I'm going to move that one and go to another one. Make sure that there's black all over. And we'll put this one there. Okay, so the black is not working real well on our little stamp. So black ink, if you can get a black ink pad, which would really be like one of your first ink pads to buy, would be black. That, because you can use it for so many different things. I was going to say I didn't even put any more on here. And I do like the black to be more solid. I don't, although a little bit, what did you say? So here with my stamp offs, actually that does look kind of good too. So I guess it doesn't have to be real solid black. But let's see what else we have here. We've got our little tiny circle. And so in this case, you just go around and you just pick and choose where you may want to put your on top stamps. Like that. See this little flower. Let's try putting it in this little yellow one. See, and I rocked it and got some right there. So you have to be careful. Don't rock your stamps. Let's see about our... Start putting some. Now this is really super thick. So let's get that off of there a little bit. And maybe I should have put the black on a sponge. That might have been better. So put him right here. And the fun part is kind of picking and choosing what you're going to put where. So, you know, don't think that, you know, it has to be done super quickly, you know, and that you have to go real fast. And don't forget, turn your paper. So that you have a variety of the way that it looks. Put him over here. And so you're just going to continue on with all your different all of your different shapes until you have it as full as you want. You don't need to have something in the middle. Ooh, that one turned out really cool. Like that one. You don't have to have something in every single circle. And if you have a part of, I'm going to try and line this back up again. It doesn't always work very well, but I was just going to say, the whole paper does not have to be perfect. If there's a part of the paper that you don't like, when you go to use it, just don't use that piece or cover that piece up with something. I'm going to try, because I don't like the way that that flower turned out, I'm going to try and put one of these on top of it and see what that looks like. Kind of want to center it, and maybe that will make it look better. Maybe I'll like it, maybe I won't, but that's okay. Then I just won't use that piece. And actually, that's not too bad. Kind of like what do you call it, when the squids make their black ink, when they squirt out their ink. So now we've got our whale, and I'm going to put him here. Oh, he's really cute. He turned out very well. And it may be because the black paint is getting more spread out too. And you can look and make sure that it's not like real heavy somewhere. I'm going to put this one right here. Oh, he turned out really well. And that's the other thing. Do we have the starfish? I don't think we do. You'll find that some of them you like and some of them you don't. And you don't have to like them all. I like the starfish. So if you don't like them, you can always peel them off, use your base for something else. You're not always going to like everything you do, and that's okay. Nobody likes everything they do. I don't care who they are. That one, quite smudgy, but you can also go in with a black pen later and touch things up if you don't like the way that they look. And I'm also working on a box here, which probably is not the best idea. I now feel that there is a dent right there, which is probably part of my problem. Let's try this little fish. Oh, he turns out really cute too. And we really do have, we have it pretty well filled in. I'm going to put him with his tail going off the edge of the paper. I don't really want his head off the head of the paper, the edge of the paper, but we'll have him swimming in like that. Let's try it again here as a stamp off. It might not do very well. No, it didn't. But I can maybe Yeah, there we go. That's not bad at all. So maybe just a few more of the little black ones here and there. Oh, I like the way that that one turned out. Let's go like circle there. And where's my octopus? Didn't I? I know I had an octopus. Oh, that's a fish. Well, I don't see him here anywhere. I'm going to try this one. I'm going to try this with the black. Yeah, that's not going to work very well at all. I'm going to need to move this around a little bit. I'll use a fish to do it. Just kind of getting it out here and getting it kind of spread around and flat. And if you turn it around, you'll hit different spots where you've got your ink or your paint to help get spots that are not, if you always hit the same spot, if there's no paint there to get on your stamp, then you're just not going to get any paint on your stamp in that spot. So make sure you turn it around. I'm going to try doing this here. I don't know if that has enough paint on it or not, but we'll see. That's kind of fun. Didn't quite get that well, but take that fish off of there. And so there we go. That is how you make your own stamps. And how you make the background paper. Then if you have some inks, I have before went ahead and just kind of inked the whole page, just like a real light ink and a brush, and so that the page wasn't white in the background if you don't want it to be white in the background. Got a few of those. I really like this little whale guy. Oops, now see, I got a lot of paint right there. It's best if you see a lot of paint on an edge, wipe it off first. Oh, he did not do very well. And I did not line it up very well either, I don't think. Nope. So he's going to be a different kind of fish, because actually he goes this way, but he looks like he should go this way. So there we go. Need a little bit of something there. I don't like that one, so I'm not going to use it again. At least not on this. And got a few of those. I use this one again. And I'm running out of the black paint now too. Put that one there. Maybe a little there. And we're going to call that good. So these are all the stamps that we made last week. Some of these are store-bought stamps. Some of these, this is a die cut. I cut out a fun foam and glued onto some pegs like this. So if you have a die cutting machine with some little tiny die cuts, you can do those also. These little ones here, they were from the stickers from the Dollar Tree. So, but yeah, it turns out really cute. I like the difference, the contrast between the black and the colors. So I think that just really makes it pretty. And it makes for a nice background. It also would just make a nice card. You could just use it the way it is. So there we go. That's how you do that. So now that we've made our paper and our stamps, we need to clean up, and we want to make some colored paper. So I'm just going to throw, oh, look what I found. I wonder if I have enough black paint here to get a couple of him. He's barely getting any paint on him. But we're going to try him. One right here. Kind of hope he turns out. I think he's really cute. Give it time for the paint to get stuck to the paper. Not bad. He kind of looks like a Halloween octopus. I don't know why. Because of the two blank eyes, I think. So there we go. That's our colored paper. Now, I have our water bin here. I'm going to move all of these and move this box. Okay. This bin is full, oh, probably between a ½ inch and an inch full of water. Now, you're going to do this a few times. Here's our stamp-off sheet. You're going to do this with each of the 3 sponges. So I can't do it all right now because it would take forever to do that. But I'm going to show you how to make your colored paper. You're going to take, because this is acrylic paint, you do not want to wash this down your sink. And so, see, we've got a little bit of the color even has come through the pad. There's a lot of paint left here. So you don't want to waste it. You can use it 2 different ways. You can take it, and you can take your paper. Let me see if I can, this might be a little close, but you can take your paper and you can just stamp it onto your paper like this. And make yourself a sheet of colored paper, or lots of sheets of colored paper, just like this. Now right there is a nice background piece of paper. And you can do that over and over for a little while. Then, when you're done doing that, take your pad, and you can wear gloves so you don't get all over your hands. And you're going to wash your pad out in your water. And like I said, there's about maybe ½ an inch to an inch of paper, or of water. So we're going to put this in here. And if you have more than one of these, that works good too. But you're just going to get this really nice and cleaned up as best as you can. That's going to get most of this paint into this water here. And then you're going to squeeze it out really, really well. And at this point, I usually will take it then and wash it, because I've got most of the real paint out of it. It still has color to it, but most of the paint is not in here anymore. So I'll wash it in the sink with soapy water. But now I have this, and this is why we wanted 2 colors that would go together. This is a nice rusty color. I like that color. And then we're just going to take our papers and put them in here. Now, I normally put them in, and I leave them set for a little while. And what I do is I put one in like this, and then I put one in that's just a little bit offset from that one, because you don't want them to totally stick together and not be able to find where the separation is, because you're going to have to peel these apart. And so when you do that, if they're exactly on top of each other, they're hard to get apart, and you rip the corners. But if they're offset just a little bit, then you'll be able to grab a piece that's not stuck to the piece below it and carefully pull them apart. So now I normally am going to let these sit for, oh, I don't know. It really depends on the day. But see how light this is? Now, this is still not as white as this. So it does have some color, but I want more color than that. So a lot of times I'll leave them sit. Oh, I don't know, hour or so. This is copy paper. Normally, if I'm careful with it, it's okay. You do have to be careful when you take it out, and the longer you let it set, the more careful you have to be. But I do let them sit for a while. And what happens also, because you put two colors in here, sometimes, not always, but what happens is the colors separate just a little bit and kind of like mix in between your papers, and so you wind up with a little bit of this rust, a little bit of the yellowy color, or a little bit of the red, or a little bit of all three. It gives you like different tones sometimes, and you just decide how many papers do you want to make, and you can make some, and then take them out, and then make a little bit more until the water is gone. You can just continue and continue to make colored paper. And you know, just like let some of them sit for an hour, let some of them sit for 5 minutes, let some of them sit for 10 minutes, and you'll have different shades of the same color paper, but they won't be exactly the same. So once this is done, I take this and do one of two things. I either put clumping kitty litter in it and then throw it in the garbage, or I throw it out in the woods. Because we live in the country, I just throw it out in the woods. And it kind of spreads out, and it doesn't, you know, I've never had it hurt anything, and I've done it for years. So, but that is how you make your own background paper and colored paper. And a lot of times I'll do like 10 or 15 of these, and then 10 or 15 of those, and then you know, of each of the colors, so that you really do have a lot of nice background papers to use in your projects. So, and that way, if you don't have the scrapbooking paper from the store, plus the fact of, even you're not going to have another one exactly like this. Even if I were to have made 10 of these before I wash this out, that none of them would be the same. But nobody else is going to have paper like yours. This is going to be your very own unique paper, and that is part of what I like the best out of all of this kind of stuff. Is I love making my own. I like it to be my own and to not be just like anybody else's. So that's another fun part of it. So I'm going to let you go now, and I will try and remember to get the papers and show them to you next week. I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to have time to make a lot of extra papers, or if they're just going to get rinsed and the water's going to go out, because I have to get ready and start work again. So start back to work tomorrow again. So I don't know that I don't do much during the week. But I could, if it was Saturday, but today is Sunday, but if it was Saturday, I could take this and just wet it down a little bit and then work on it on Sunday. So, you know, put it in a Ziploc baggie, get a little wet, put it in a Ziploc baggie, and even if I don't want to stamp tomorrow, I could make more colored paper tomorrow. Or if you have a few of these, then you could, you know, use all three of them at the same time. So, but thank you very much for stopping by. Watch a commercial every so often if you get a chance. I would really appreciate that. I hope that you like making your paper, and I think it looks pretty close to the one I made before. Now this one, I can tell you right now, this has a very light pink background to it. I don't know what it was, spun sugar or something like that. It didn't hardly have any color in it, but this one had just a touch of color in it. But there we go. All the stamps that we just made last week, and it turned out pretty well. Now, I think that maybe this one's not quite as full as this one, but that's because I had to, you know, hurry and do it for the video. But take your time and make it however you want it to look. So thank you very much for stopping by. I really do appreciate each and every one of you. And I hope that you all have an outstanding day. Bye-bye.